Don't be afraid, ma'am. I'm not a robber. I just want to help you fix your car.
Please stay away from me. I don't have any money.
Drivers ignored the old lady on the highway. Then a biker pulled over and shocked them. 78-year-old Margaret Sullivan's Buick died on I-5 during 98-degree heat wave. Luxury cars honking and swerving past elderly women waving desperately for help. Tattooed biker Marcus Stone stopped, ignored her terrified screaming, fixed her car in silence, refused payment, escorted her home. Sometimes drivers ignore desperation they find inconvenient. Sometimes tattooed strangers save lives polished citizens won't pause for. Day 1, Thursday, 2:45 p.m., Interstate 5, southbound near Portland. 6 lanes of traffic moving 70 mph, August afternoon, hitting 98 degrees. Heat shimmering off asphalt like water, sun beating down, merciless as judgment. Margaret Sullivan, 78-year-old widow, gripped steering wheel of her 2003 Buick LeSabre with white-knuckled hands. Air conditioning dead for 3 months. Sweat soaking through floral dress Robert had bought her last anniversary before the heart attack. Foreshadowing enhanced. She thought of his last words about the car. "Maggie, those tires are bald, transmission slipping, brake lines corroded. Please let me take it to shop before he died. Before $2,000 in repairs became impossible on $100 monthly Social Security. Before being careful became her only maintenance plan. Just get to Salem, grandson's birthday, 70 miles. You can make it." 2:43 p.m. Transmission shuddered like dying animal. Warning lights erupted across dashboard. Angry red constellations she didn't understand. Engine sputtered. Died. Margaret coasted onto shoulder, heart hammering, understanding with cold certainty. I'm alone, stranded, vulnerable. She sat in dead car watching Mercedes streak past, BMWs swerve, Teslas accelerate, polished metal coffins filled with people who couldn't be bothered to pause. She opened door into wall of heat, stood waving, "Help, please!" Honks, curses, middle fingers from leather-seated comfort. "Get off the road, old woman!" someone screamed. Margaret's flip phone showed no signal, no AAA, no family within 50 miles, no options. 20 minutes. Sweat turned to dizziness, dizziness to nausea, vision blurring at edges, heat strokes warning signs she'd learned caring for Robert last summer before, rumble of motorcycle, single rider, pulling onto shoulder. Margaret's terror was immediate, primal, biker, tattooed, alone. I'm going to be robbed, killed, left in ditch. News warnings flooded back. Motorcycle gangs, violence, drugs, danger. She scrambled into car, locked doors with shaking hands. Marcus Stone watched elderly woman lock herself in overheated car, screaming at him through cracking window. "Stay away! I don't have money." Another one, he thought wearily. 5th stranded motorist this month to assume robbery instead of rescue. He'd been riding I-5 for 3 years doing this, stopping for everyone, helping everyone, being feared by most. Some days he wondered if Rosa's death had cursed him to lifetime of being needed, but never trusted. "Ma'am, I'm not robbing you. I'm EMT. Your car broke down. I can help." "Bikers are dangerous. I've seen the news." Marcus felt exhaustion deeper than road weariness. Maybe I should stop doing this. Let someone else be the good guy, someone who doesn't terrify old ladies. But then he saw her face, flushed from heat, lips cracking, eyes unfocused, heat stroke, minutes from collapse. If I leave, she dies, like Rosa died, like grandmother died when everyone drove past. Decision made. I help, even if she hates me for it. He walked to his motorcycle, pulled out phone, called someone who might help. "Diane, this is Marcus Stone. I'm on I-5 with your mother. She's stranded, overheating, and terrified of me. Can you talk to her? My mother? How did you get this number? From emergency contact sticker on her windshield. Please, she needs help. She won't take it from me. Mom locks her doors for bikers? Diane Sullivan's voice was sharp with protective fury. Good, she should. What do you want? I want to fix her car, add fluids, cool her down, save her life, but she thinks I'm robber. If you could call her, tell her I'm safe. How do I know you're safe? You could be scammer using emergency contacts to... Ma'am, your mother's showing heat stroke symptoms in 98-degree heat. We can debate my character after I keep her alive. Her number's 503-555-0147. Call now. He hung up before Diane could argue. Margaret's phone rang inside locked car. She answered. Diane. Mom, some biker called me. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? I'm fine. He hasn't touched me. But Diane, he's tattooed. He's got this leather vest. He looks... Lock your doors. I'm calling police. I did lock my doors, but my car's dead, and it's so hot, and... Margaret's voice broke. I don't know what to do. Outside, Marcus began working anyway, opened her hood. She'd forgotten to lock it. Started examining engine. Diane, he's opening my hood. He's doing something. Mom, don't let him steal parts. But Marcus just poured transmission fluid from his emergency supplies, added coolant, cleaned battery connections, working in silence while elderly woman inside feared him and distant daughter assumed the worst. 10 minutes. Marcus worked without speaking, proving nothing except competence. Margaret filmed through window, phone pressed to ear, Diane listening to every sound. What's he doing now? Pouring something into engine, using tools. He has a toolbox on his motorcycle. Who carries toolbox on motorcycle? Someone who plans to rob people, Mom. Don't trust him. Marcus finished, walked to her window. Try starting it. Margaret hesitated, turned key with shaking hand. Engine caught, sputtered, held. It started. Mom, do not drive with him following you. Get to populated area and call real mechanic. But Marcus was already speaking. Ma'am, transmission fluid was empty, coolant low. This'll get you home, but car needs real repairs. Where do you live? Portland. 15 miles. I'm escorting you. If you break down, I'm here. Stay in right lane. He walked to his motorcycle, started engine, pulled ahead, flashers blinking, escort forming. Margaret sat frozen. Diane, he's riding ahead of me like a police escort. Why would Robert do that? I don't know, Mom, but I'm driving down from Seattle right now. I'll be there in 3 hours. Do not let him into your house. 5 miles north, Margaret's transmission lurched violently. She honked twice, signal Marcus had given. He immediately pulled over, approached her car again. But this time, Oregon State Trooper pulled up behind them, lights flashing. Officer Jennifer Hayes emerged, hand near weapon, clearly responding to call about biker harassing elderly woman. Margaret understood. Someone driving past had called police, seen tattooed biker threatening old lady, assumed assault. Diane's voice crackled through phone speaker. Mom, is that police? Tell them he's harassing you. Get him arrested. Marcus stood with hands visible, clearly experienced in police encounters, face resigned. This wasn't his first time being reported for helping. Officer Hayes radioed, Dispatch, I've got male subject, Reaper's MC vest, with elderly female motorist, running ID now, possible 1099. Margaret held 2 phones now. Diane screaming, confirm harassment. In one ear, officer asking, Ma'am, are you in danger? In the other, Marcus standing silent, letting her decide whether his kindness would be rewarded with arrest. Margaret looked at Marcus, man who'd stopped when hundreds didn't, fixed her car, asked nothing in return, now facing arrest because she'd been terrified of his tattoos. "Officer," Margaret said clearly into both phones, "this man is helping me, not harassing." My daughter misunderstood. "Mom, no, don't protect him!" Diane screamed. "Diane, stop! He fixed my car for free. He's escorting me home." "Ma'am," Officer Hayes said, "I need to verify." "Sir, ID, please." Marcus handed over license and military veteran card, Purple Heart, Iraq War, honorable discharge. Hayes ran it, returned with surprise softening her face. "Marcus Stone, Reaper's MC Road Captain, clean record, multiple commendations for roadside assistance. You've saved 43 stranded motorists this year." 44, if Mrs. Sullivan makes it home. Hayes studied scene. Elderly woman, dead car, 98-degree heat. Biker with emergency supplies. "Someone reported you harassing her. Someone saw tattooed biker near elderly woman and assumed the worst," Marcus corrected gently. "Happens a lot." Margaret felt shame crushing her chest. "I assumed that too. I screamed at him, locked my doors, called him robber, and he helped me anyway." Officer Hayes holstered weapon completely, posture shifting from enforcement to understanding. "Mr. Stone, can I ask, off record, why do you do this?" Marcus was quiet then. 19 years ago, my grandmother Rosa broke down on I-84, 100-degree heat. She was 76, diabetic, heat-sensitive. His voice roughened. She stood waving for help for 90 minutes, hundreds of cars. Nobody stopped. Heat stroke killed her before sunset. Found by highway maintenance 6 hours later. Officer Hayes's face changed. "Jesus." After her funeral, I made promise. Every stranded motorist I see, I stop. Because maybe someone's Rosa. Maybe someone who dies if I don't. Margaret's tears started, understanding hitting like physical blow. I could have been her. If you'd driven past like everyone else, I'd have been her. That's why I didn't. Hayes spoke quietly. Last month, I arrested Reaper's member, domestic dispute call. Turned out he was stopping abuse, not causing it. Neighbor saw tattooed biker arguing with man hitting wife, called 911. We almost charged the Reaper with assault, until victim told us he saved my life. She looked at Margaret. We judge by appearance. Mr. Stone pays the price. Margaret whispered into phone. Diane, are you hearing this? Diane's voice was smaller now. I'm hearing. Hayes checked Margaret's car, face darkening. Ma'am, your brake lines are severely corroded. You've been driving with maybe 30% brake capacity. One hard stop and these fail completely. At highway speed, fatal crash. Marcus finished quietly. You didn't just help her, Hayes said. You prevented accident that could have killed her, maybe others. Marcus felt weight he'd carried 3 years pressing harder. Officer, honest question. How many more times do I get reported for helping before I stop trying? How many more elderly ladies scream at me before I decide it's not worth it? Hayes had no answer. Because I'm tired, Marcus continued, voice cracking. I stop for everyone, fix their cars, refuse payment, and half of them call police on me anyway. Rosa died because nobody helped. But maybe she died because people like me, tattooed, scary-looking people, don't exist in version of help civilians recognize. Margaret understood. She'd almost destroyed the only person who'd tried to save her. Hayes made decision. I'm escorting you both to Portland. Official police presence. And Mrs. Sullivan, when your daughter arrives, she's going to see State Trooper vouching for Mr. Stone. That might help." "Diane's coming?" Marcus asked. "Oh, yes," Margaret said tiredly. 3-hour drive from Seattle. She'll arrive angry, protective, certain you're scammer, just like I was." "Great," Marcus said without enthusiasm. "Another person who'll judge me by my vest before my actions." They formed convoy, Marcus's motorcycle leading, Margaret's struggling Buick behind, State Trooper following. Margaret called Diane back. "Honey, listen carefully. When you arrive, I need you to meet someone, not judge, just meet. Can you do that?" "Mom, I'm coming to protect you. I need you to protect your assumptions, because they're wrong, like mine were wrong. Please, Diane, trust me one more time." Long pause. "I'm still coming, but I'll try to listen." 2 miles from Margaret's home, transmission died completely. Marcus called tow truck using his membership, flatbed to 5347 NE Alameda, Portland. Elderly driver, disabled vehicle. But while waiting, he told Hayes quietly, "This is probably my last rescue. I'm done. 3 years of being feared, reported, accused. I can't keep doing this." Hayes protested, "But you saved 44 people. And 40 of them assumed I was criminal first. Only difference today, Mrs. Sullivan had daughter to call. You arrived before mob mentality escalated. But next time, next elderly person I help, maybe they have son who shows up with gun. Maybe caller reports armed biker instead of helpful veteran. Maybe I get shot doing Rosa's mission." Margaret, overheard through open window, realized her fear wasn't just about her safety. Her fear was destroying the only person still stopping for strangers. If Marcus quit, how many future Rosas would die? Tow truck arrived, driver recognizing Marcus. "Hey man, 4th rescue this week. You okay? You look defeated." Marcus didn't answer, just watched Margaret's car loaded onto flatbed, wondering if this was last time he'd use emergency supplies for good instead of being punished for trying. Margaret's small house, 5347 NE Alameda. Worn furniture, photos of Robert everywhere, military awards covering walls, Vietnam veteran, Silver Star, Purple Heart. Marcus helped Margaret inside, then started to leave. "Mr. Stone, please, stay. Diane arrives in 90 minutes. You should be here when she does." "So she can accuse me in person instead of over phone? So I can show her I'm alive. Because of you." Marcus sat reluctantly in Robert's old armchair, leather cracked from decades of use, faint smell of pipe tobacco still clinging. Margaret pulled photo from mantel, Robert at 23, Marine Corps uniform, same age Marcus would have been in Iraq. "My husband would have stopped for you," Margaret said, voice breaking. "If he'd seen you stranded, broken bike, needing help, Robert would have pulled over, because Marines help people. That's what he taught me for 52 years. She held photo with shaking hands. "But when you helped me today, I couldn't see it. I saw tattoos and thought, criminal. I saw motorcycle and thought, danger. I screamed at you, locked my doors, called you robber. And Robert," tears flowed freely, "Robert would be so ashamed of me, because you're exactly who he was. Veteran serving even after war ended. And I judged you like you were enemy." Marcus's own eyes filled. "Mrs. Sullivan, no, let me finish. I taught children for 40 years. Librarian, reading programs, summer camps. Know what I told them every week? Don't judge a book by its cover. And yesterday," she looked at him, seeing him clearly for first time, "I judged you exactly that way. You're Iraq veteran like Robert was Vietnam veteran. You stopped because it's right, and I repaid you with prejudice. You were scared. Elderly woman, broken car, stranger. Luxury car drivers who honked at me weren't scared. They weren't anything, just inconvenienced. You stopped despite being feared. That's the difference. And that, her voice dropped to whisper, that's what Robert would have done. Marcus sat in dead veteran's chair, understood. He wasn't being judged anymore. He was being honored. The weight he'd carried, 3 years of being feared, reported, assumed worst, lifted slightly. Your husband sounds like he was good man. He was, and so are you. Thursday, 11th p.m. Diane arrived. Professional woman, 52, software engineer, protective daughter who'd driven 3 hours certain her mother was being scammed. She walked in, saw a tattooed biker sitting in her father's chair, rage igniting immediately. Get away from my mother! Officer Hayes, who'd stayed for this moment, stepped forward. Ms. Sullivan, I'm Oregon State Police. I witnessed this man rescue your mother. He's not scammer. He's veteran who... I don't care what he is. Mom, pack a bag. You're coming to Seattle. Diane, no. Your judgment's compromised. This is textbook elder abuse. Financial exploitation. I haven't taken a penny, Marcus said quietly. Then what do you want? Why target my mother? Margaret stood between them. Diane, sit down. Listen. Mom, sit. Diane sat, fury barely contained. Margaret spoke for 20 minutes. Highway breakdown, hundreds of cars ignoring her, Marcus stopping, her terror, his patience, brake lines that would have killed her, escort home, his grandmother Rosa, his 3 years of rescues, his weariness at being feared. When she finished, Diane was quiet. Then, even if that's all true, how do you know he's not lying? Scammers use emotional stories. Your father's tools are in garage, Margaret interrupted. His toolbox from Marines, go get it. Diane returned with worn red toolbox, Robert Sullivan stenciled on lid. Mr. Stone, would you open this? Marcus opened it, hands reverent, veteran touching another veteran's sacred tools. These are maintained perfectly. Your father knew tools. Diane, Margaret said, I'm donating Robert's tools to Mr. Stone for his highway rescues, so Robert's tools can keep saving people. Mom, no, those are Dad's. You can't give them to stranger. But Marcus had closed toolbox, stood. Mrs. Sullivan, I can't accept these. Your husband's tools belong with his family. You are family, veteran family. Robert would want his tools used for this. Diane's face flushed with rage and confusion. Mother she'd come to rescue was giving away father's tools to biker she'd driven 3 hours to confront. I'm staying the night, Diane said. We're talking about this when you're rested. Marcus left quietly, taking nothing, refusing tools, giving them space. Diane spent Saturday investigating Marcus Stone, online search, Reapers, MC, 1C3, nonprofit, veterans organization, 43 documented roadside rescues this year, called VA Hospital. Marcus Stone? Yes, Iraq war vet, Purple Heart, traumatic brain injury, PTSD, regular participant in our peer support groups, called Highway Patrol. Stone? Yeah, we know him. Good guy. Gets reported by people he helps, but we've never filed charges. Always legitimate rescue. Found news article. Local veteran continues grandmother's legacy through highway assistance. Full story about Rosa Stone's death. Marcus's 3-year mission. By Saturday evening, Diane's certainty had cracked. Mom, I found articles. He's real. The rescue thing, it's real. I told you. But that doesn't mean you should give him Dad's tools. Those tools will save lives. Robert would approve. Diane couldn't argue, but couldn't accept either. Spent Saturday night wrestling with cognitive dissonance. Biker looked dangerous, but evidence said hero. Sunday morning, Margaret began writing letters to schools, libraries, community centers she'd worked with for 40 years. Diane watched. "Mom, what are you doing?" "Writing recommendations, Mr. Stone's Motorcycle Club does youth mentorship. They need partnerships. I'm opening doors." "You barely know him." "I know he saved my life. I know he does this weekly. I know he's tired of being feared, and I know I have power to change that. Connections, reputation, trust. That's my currency. I'm spending it." Letter after letter. "Dear Principal Martinez, I'm recommending Reaper's Motorcycle Club for your after-school program. These are veterans who serve with honor." 25 letters by Sunday evening. Diane read one. "Mom, you're vouching for entire motorcycle club based on meeting one member for 4 hours? I'm vouching for man who stopped when hundreds didn't. That's enough." "What if you're wrong?" "Then I'm wrong. But if I'm right and stay silent, that's worse. Because next Rosa dies while people drive past, and I could have helped prevent it." Diane watched Mother write, understanding slowly dawning, this wasn't about Marcus. This was about Margaret choosing to be a person who stopped instead of a person who drove past. But Monday morning, Margaret's bank called. "Mrs. Sullivan, we're flagging suspicious activity. You wrote 5 checks totaling $1,000 to Motorcycle Organization. We're concerned about elder financial exploitation." Margaret explained, "I'm donating to their youth programs, not exploitation." But bank reported to Adult Protective Services anyway. Standard protocol. By Monday afternoon, APS caseworker arrived. "Mrs. Sullivan, we need to investigate potential financial abuse. You've had recent contact with motorcycle club member, then made large donations. We're required to assess your decision-making capacity." Diane, present for interview, felt vindication. "See, Mom? Even professionals think this is suspicious." Margaret faced choice. Withdraw donations and letters to prove mental competency, or stand firm and risk competency evaluation that could result in Diane gaining conservatorship, moving her to Seattle, ending independence. APS caseworker Linda Chin, 45, conducted interview in Margaret's living room. Smell of Margaret's tea mixing with Diane's anxiety sweat. Afternoon sun streaming through lace curtains Robert had hung 30 years ago. Dust motes dancing like witnesses. "Mrs. Sullivan, can you explain why you donated $1,000 to Motorcycle Organization?" "Because they saved my life. Because they serve community. Because I want to support their work." "And you met them when?" "Thursday, 5 days ago." "You've known them 5 days and donated $1,000 Chen consulted notes. "You told your bank you couldn't afford." "I can't afford not to. If I don't support people doing good work, who will?" Diane interrupted. "Mom, tell her you'll withdraw the donations. Please, before this gets worse." "I won't withdraw them." Chen continued. "Mrs. Sullivan, your daughter's concerned. Large donation to organization you barely know, giving away late husband's tools, writing letters to schools vouching for group with no personal knowledge. This suggests impaired judgment. Or it suggests clear judgment everyone else lacks." Marcus arrived. Caseworker had called him as part of investigation he'd come to testify. Knowing his presence would make Margaret's situation worse, but unable to abandon her. He stood in doorway, leather vest, dark against afternoon light, face showing 3 years of being judged and found guilty of trying to help. "Ms. Chen," he said quietly, "I'm Marcus Stone. Mrs. Sullivan's exploitation consists of her choosing to support veterans programs after I helped her on highway. If that's abuse, I'll return every donation, tear up every letter, disappear from her life. But don't punish her for having courage. I'm tired of testing." His voice cracked. "I stop for stranded people because my grandmother died when nobody else would. I've done it 3 years, helped 44 people, and 40 of them, like Mrs. Sullivan initially, assumed I was criminal. I'm exhausted. I was ready to quit after Mrs. Sullivan. But then she surprised me. She thanked me, wrote letters, donated money, saw me as human, first person in months who did. And now you're investigating her for that? Suggesting she's mentally incompetent for treating me with dignity?" He looked at Margaret. "Ma'am, I'm sorry. I should have stayed away after Thursday. Everything I touch, I ruin for people. Even gratitude gets weaponized." But Margaret stood, hand shaking, but voice steel. "Mr. Stone, sit down," turned to Chen. "My husband, Robert, Silver Star recipient, Vietnam veteran, taught me, when you see someone serving, you support them. Period. Mr. Stone serves, I support. My judgment isn't impaired. Yours is. Because you see tattooed biker and assume predator. You see elderly widow donating money and assume victim. You can't imagine that maybe, just maybe, I'm exercising clearest judgment I've had in years, choosing to honor people who stop instead of those who drive past." Diane watched Mother defend biker against state authority, realized Mom's not being scammed. I am. Scammed by appearance, by assumptions, by fear. "Wait," Diane said. "Ms. Chen, I called you, but I was wrong." Everyone turned. "I spent weekend investigating Mr. Stone. VA records, news articles, highway patrol. He's legitimate, more than legitimate. He's hero. And I—" Her voice broke. "I almost convinced my mother to betray only person who stopped to help her. I drove 3 hours to rescue her from man who'd already rescued her. I'm the problem here, not Mom, not Mr. Stone, me." She faced Marcus. "Mr. Stone, I'm sorry. I assumed worst, just like Mom did Thursday, just like that highway caller did, just like Bank and APS did. We're all so primed to see danger in tattoos and leather that we can't see the person underneath." Chen closed her file. "Mrs. Sullivan, I'm satisfied you're making informed decisions. No further investigation needed." After she left, room exhaled collectively. Diane sat beside Marcus. "Can I ask you something? Why didn't you defend yourself? When I accused you, when Bank suspected you, when APS investigated, you just accepted it." "Because defending myself makes it worse. Tattooed biker saying I'm not criminal sounds like exactly what criminal would say. Better to stay quiet. Let evidence speak." "That's exhausting." "It is. That's why I'm quitting. After Mrs. Sullivan's car, I'm done with highway rescues." Margaret grabbed his hand. "No, you're not. Because I'm not done fighting for you." 6 weeks later, Margaret's 25 letters generated 8 meetings, 5 partnerships, 2 rejections. First rejection: principal who refused to meet reapers. Motorcycle clubs aren't appropriate for children. First acceptance: youth center director who'd been homeless, remembered biker giving him food. "Mrs. Sullivan vouches for you. That's enough for me." Slow momentum. School by school, program by program, Margaret and Diane attended meetings together. Elderly widow and protective daughter advocating for veterans nobody else trusted. Marcus joined reluctantly, showing up in suit instead of vest, answering questions, bearing scrutiny. Why should we let bikers mentor our kids? Because we're veterans who understand service, because we've faced adversity, because we know what it's like to be judged by appearance and want to teach kids to look deeper. By 6 weeks, 12 partnerships established, 60 kids enrolled in mentorship, Reapers proving themselves week by week. Diane moved back to Seattle, but returned monthly to help coordinate programs. Her tech company donated $10,000 to Reapers youth programs, her way of apologizing for suspicion. Marcus continued highway rescues, but now carried Margaret's card. If you're scared of me, call her. She'll vouch. 3 motorists called. All were convinced. 4 months after rescue, Margaret's 79th birthday, celebrated at Reaper's clubhouse, smell of motor oil mixing with birthday cake, sound of pool balls clacking, laughter echoing off concrete walls hung with American flags and military photos. 50 guests, Reaper's members, kids from mentorship programs, school principals who'd taken chances, Officer Hayes, Diane and her family, APS caseworker Chin, who'd become advocate after investigation. Marcus presented gift, Robert's toolbox. Margaret had insisted he take it 6 weeks ago. He'd finally accepted. Mrs. Sullivan, I've used these tools to help 19 people since you gave them to me. Your husband's tools are still saving lives, still serving. I wanted you to see. He opened toolbox. Inside, photographs of every person he'd helped with Robert's tools. Young mother with infant, elderly man with walker, college student on way to graduation, each one alive because Marcus stopped. Margaret touched photos with shaking hands, seeing Robert's legacy continuing through stranger who'd become family. Robert would be proud of you, of me, that I finally learned to see past fear. Diane added, Dad taught me judge character, not appearance. Took me 52 years and one terrified mother to actually learn it. Thank you for being patient while I caught up. 2 years later, Margaret's law passed in Oregon, requiring roadside assistance training for motorcycle clubs receiving 501c3 status, plus liability protection from false harassment claims during good faith rescues. Margaret, 80, became Reaper's community liaison, connecting veterans with schools, libraries, senior centers, building bridges between bikers and communities that feared them. Marcus saved 93 motorists in 2 years, each receiving Margaret's contact info. The woman who screamed at me is now my grandmother. Call her. She'll tell you who we really are. Officer Hayes implemented statewide training, motorcycle clubs and community service, avoiding bias in emergency response. Reporter asked Margaret, You were terrified of bikers. Now you work with them daily. What changed? Margaret answered, I was dying on highway while hundreds of safe people drove past. One dangerous biker stopped. That taught me. Sometimes drivers ignore desperation they find inconvenient. Sometimes tattooed strangers save lives polished citizens won't pause for, and sometimes elderly widow learns most important lesson at 78. That heroes don't look like movies suggest. They look like Iraq veterans on motorcycles stopping because someone's grandmother died when nobody would help. Proving that judging people by ink and leather means missing the humans who wear their service more visibly than the rest of us will ever understand.